For our Easter Bunny door hanger, I'm applying the new color Bleach Cypress in the Voodoo Gel Stain with a premium chip brush and then wiping it back with a lint-free cloth. I'm prepping our bunny for decoupage with Fluff by Dixie Belle Paint Company. We're going to be using the traditional Peter Rabbit A3 decoupage paper. I did not want to sand after, so I just traced around our little bunny rabbit and cut him out. I just applied a thin layer of the Redesign with Prima decoupage gel underneath, laid the rabbit down, used a little piece of saran wrap to smooth out all the wrinkles. On the bunny overlay, I used an X-Acto knife to cut out the roses so that I could create a design on the side of the bunnies. I decided to go ahead and tape off the top portion, and I mixed a little bit of Dusty Blue and Fluff. Just made sure I got the edges really well, removed the tape, and I have a nice straight line. This blue matches the blue in our decoupage paper. For the outside of the bunny, I wanted to go ahead and create a frame, so I just put some fluff on this piece, sanded down the inside a little bit where I cut off those roses. I decided that it was a little bit easier to paint this filigree with a sponge, and here I'm just using Flamingo to do that. Ideally, a quick drying glue would be best, but I didn't have that, so I'm using Titebond Quick and Thick, and then I just went ahead and taped it up while it dried. I used a 600 grit sandpaper to smooth out the chalk mineral paint. Then I protected with satin clear coat using a large round synthetic brush by Dixie Belle Paint Company. I had a little flamingo that stuck to my finger, so I just did a little touch-up work on the edges of our bunny rabbit where I got that flamingo on there and where I had missed when I was painting the original bunny for decoupage. I used a fine tip art brush to paint in the flowers with flamingo on the decoupage paper so they matched our filigree roses on the side. I'm using the Happy Easter stencil by Dixie Belle Paint Company. To tie everything together, I'm continuing on with the Flamingo and Fluff. So I don't get any bleed through, I'm using a stencil brush and I'm wiping almost all of the paint, or what seems like all of the paint, back on a lint-free paper towel. Flamingo is highly pigmented, so I did do 2 coats there. Again, I came back in with a fine tip brush. I added a little bunny tail and I connected the areas that were out from the stencil, so it was all one consecutive Easter and the ears were all connected. I wanted the stencil to really pop. It seemed like it was kind of sinking into the background. So I'm using a 0.5 millimeter permanent ink pen by King Art. If you don't already have any art pens, it's not a big deal. No need to go buy any. You can use a fine tip Sharpie and get the same effect. Again, a quick drying glue would be better here, but I didn't have that on hand, so I'm just using Titebond Quick and Thick. The reason I like the Titebond Quick and Thick is because it does dry clear, there's no drips, and it is a faster drying wood glue as well. I wanted a very thin layer, so of course I just applied it with my fingers, but if you get a quick drying like super glue, you'll have a little needle and you can just apply it much easier than I did here. The final step in this process was making the bow and adding some flowers and greenery to really tie in those flamingo roses. I cut about 8 to 10 equal lengths of wired ribbon. I used a couple different designs, and then I used some jute twine to pull it all together and make a tiny little bow in the middle. Again, I used Titebond Quick and Thick to apply this and the greenery because my hot glue gun was not working. Hope you enjoyed this video and check out comments for links on products used.